Hi guys, Crane here, and I'm going to talk about the dance community. Now, usually upon the wake or the eve of a dance competition, you'll see Facebook usually, Facebook and social media, everyone puts in their 2 cents, everyone's complaining, some people are being negative, some people are being overly positive. And I'm here to make a video to address some of the things that I've seen, or read. Okay? The first one is this problem with foundations. Now, it's important when we use the word foundation that we actually define it. Foundations are the basic principles of a given thing, right? It's like the underlying basis of something. And it's important that we define this properly. Problem that I have when people ask me questions about dance is that we don't have a very good collection or index of terms. We use every word so loosely, inspire, fundamentals, even the word dance. Some constituents of mine often like to say, oh, people aren't dancing enough in their choreography. What does that mean? Surely they're dancing, but they elevate the word dance to mean groove. Right? But by doing that, by saying that they're not dancing, they can mean that dance, because surely they're dancing, that to them, dance and groove can be mutually exclusive. Which, they're vehemently against it because they think that it shouldn't be mutually exclusive. They think that when you dance, you should be doing this. Yeah, but what about tutting, for example? Right? It's very systematic. Sure, you can follow musicality, and I'm sure all these people that they're watching are following musicality, but they still complain about, oh, where's the dance in it? Well, that's because they've elevated the word dance to mean something else. So I usually run into 2 most common understandings of the word foundations, right? And those are usually grooves and movesets. Now, grooves and movesets, they have stark differences all across the board. Grooves, for one, is a non-consensual mode of motion, usually specific for music, while a moveset is consensual. It's a consensual mode of motion specific to a particular style, right? Now, the key word here is consensual. It makes all the difference, right? Grooves are something that are achieved naturally. It's objective, while movesets are agreed upon by peers. So, let's take locking, for example. All right. Now, we usually put a word to this, the groove of locking, and we usually call it the up groove, right? Because your body kind of jerks upwards when you listen to funk music. It's what the music elicits that sort of reaction from your body naturally, right? And this is not something that we've arrived upon by consensus, right? And a bunch of lockers or people who made funk music didn't come together and say, oh yeah, this is the way that we're going to jerk our bodies when we listen to this music. No, this is something that happens naturally. For movesets, however, movesets are consensual. So the move or the moveset, known as the lock, is something that has been arrived consensually. So it is something that has to be taught, right? When you're teaching people how to groove, you don't teach them how to groove. You have to help them discover it. They have to discover it on their own. And sometimes you would come across people who have a hard time, getting the groove on their own. That's why sometimes when you see people who are grooving naturally, it feels natural, it feels organic because they've arrived at it organically. Some people that, they take a class and you teach them how to do it, they're mimicking the way that your body should move, the up groove. They're jerking their heads back, they're bringing their bodies backwards like this, but but it doesn't feel natural, and it comes across when you watch them, much like how a singer, if a singer is nervous, you tend to hear it. Movesets are absolutely taught. You have to teach them how to do a particular thing. Now, obviously there's kind of a marriage between the two, that there should be the groove and the moveset, but these are foundations. This is how people usually think of foundations. Now, when it comes to the new generation, because I hear this a lot especially for people my age currently, and my neck of the woods, in terms of age or in terms of how long we've kind of been in the community, they always pick on people in terms of foundations. Now, I've even heard this, that, it's kind of our responsibility to make foundations fun. I don't think you have to. You're definitely not obligated to make anything fun. Now, because the issue of making something fun is that foundations, as in movesets, right? Because I'm assuming that this is what we're talking about when we talk about foundations, like the hit or the pop to popping, you know, like breaking down a wave. Is that these things, because of the nature of what they are, these are things that are arrived at a lot of grinding. This is very tedious, and it's not designed to be fun, right? Because it is something that is exercised. And, you know, this is not something like recreational exercise. This is exercise for perfection, right? And when you grind something out to perfection, it is often very tedious, and it requires a certain goal-orientedness that not everyone is going to enjoy. Fun, the way I see it, is sort of immediate gratification, right? This is the reason why, you see a lot of people, take dance classes wherein the goal is not necessarily to teach them how to dance explicitly. It's actually to teach them a piece or a piece of choreography, which they're going to follow and do. Now, I have nothing against that. You know, I've made my coin, and I've made a career by teaching choreography. But the problem with it's not a straightforward method to getting people good at what we call foundations. It's just not, right? In fact, sometimes they have to kind of bypass the tediousness of the work, you know, to be able to catch up in class, because, you know, the visual is all that matters. You know, this is how people learn, is they need sort of that immediate gratification first, or else they'll lose focus. Now, I think that the people who lose focus are the people who are not going to get better, because they don't have that goal-orientedness. Anything that is good in life, alright, and this goes across not just dance, but anything that is good in life is achieved by delayed gratification, right? You save money for the future. That's how you earn more money, right? You get money now and you spend it now, then, you know, your happiness is often short-lived, right? Same thing goes with dance, especially with something like a skill, right? Skill is something that has to be developed over time. It's tedious. You have to grind on it, and there is no immediate gratification to it, right? The fun is being good in the future. So it is delayed gratification. And this is not something that you have often as a mode when people are learning. Usually when people take up class, they're just doing it to be comfortable dancing. They're doing it on trying to gauge their own physical, you know, adeptness. So sure, you can try fun methods to lure people into trying it, but the overall grind that is required to learn something like a moveset is completely on the consumer side. It's not the provider. So teachers out there, I mean, there's very little you can do about that, right? The best thing is to kind of lead by example. You get good. People want to get good. There's only one way to achieve it. Right? There's no faking in this. Not in this community, especially, you know, where we're a meritocracy, where we judge people upon merit. So it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter who their parents are. But all that matters is that if what they're providing is good. Right? So if they're dancing or they're battling, you have to give them props. You know, this is not a political arena. We don't just go over here and we consensually decide who's good and who's not. Right? It is something that people have to negotiate. It's something that they have to put their 2 cents in. So people have to put themselves into consideration. And if they don't do that, if they don't put themselves into consideration, if they're not willing to put themselves into consideration, then that's their loss. I mean, then they're probably not as serious as they think they are. And the reality is, a lot of dancers who enter this kind of cycle, who enter the fray or the curve, right? A lot of them fall kind of on the bottom of the bell curve. And you can expect that their dance lives are going to go as far as probably their collegiate lives are going to be. All right? This is just the reality of it. And you cannot expect them to put put a big step forward, or to invest that much. And I'd say some people shouldn't. I say some people shouldn't. I think that dance, if you're going to get into it, you have to be exceptionally good at it. There is the talent aspect, and there's a lot of competition. So I say let bygones be bygones. Just let them be. The people who are going to be good at it, the people who want to get good, they're going to gravitate towards the foundations or the fundamentals naturally. So I think we shouldn't stress out about that. I think you should just let them do what they do and just let them enjoy it for the moment, because time weeds out people who are good and people who are not, or people who are serious and people who are not. They make their bed, so to speak. Yeah.